The abduction. The skies above Earth were quiet that night. Too quiet. In cities across the planet, Chicago, Karachi, Sao Paulo, New Istanbul, the stars shimmered unnaturally. For a moment, the clouds didn't move. Streetlights flickered. Dogs barked, then whimpered. And in neighborhoods rich and poor alike, women vanished. Pulled from bedrooms. Taken mid-walk. Snatched through shimmering portals that hissed like snakes. No alarms. No warnings. No clues. Just absence. Commander Elias Rain watched the footage in silence. The lights of the Terran Command Center cast sharp lines across his grim face. He'd seen war, fought pirates in the Kuiper Belt, bled beside Marines on Mars. But this was different. His sister, Naomi, was gone, taken in the first wave. No signs of forced entry. No trace of tech. No ransom demand. Only a faint radiation signature found near every disappearance. Not human, not known. These aren't random kidnappings, General Mbeki said, her voice low. We've confirmed disappearances across 7 colonies in Earth. All women, all fertile, age range, 18 to 35. No men, no children. Elias clenched his jaw. It's a breeding program. Murmurs rippled through the room. The implication was horrifying and all too plausible. A hologram blinked to life in the center of the table. Grainy footage, a flicker of alien metal, symbols etched in a circular language. The origin, deep space, unmistakably imperial. The Galactic Empire has violated our sovereignty, Mbeki continued. They think Earth is still fractured, still healing from the resource wars. They thought they could harvest us like cattle. They were wrong, Elias growled. The silence that followed was iron. Hours later, the Reclaimer Protocol was activated. Humanity's Black Ops fleet. Quiet ghosts. Soldiers with no country, only a purpose. To protect humans at all costs, no matter the rules broken. They had not seen action in over a decade. Now, they would become humanity's wrath. Elias stood before the assembled Reclaimers. Men and women in black armor, faces hidden behind HUD helmets, rifles slung like executioner's blades. Every one of them had lost someone in the abductions. Sister, wife, daughter, mother. We didn't ask for war, Elias said, his voice steady. We asked only to be left alone, to build, to grow. But they came in the dark, took what they thought we'd never fight for. His eyes burned. So let's show them what a human will do for his blood. The hangar roared. Meanwhile, across the stars, the Empress of the Galactic Empire watched human responses with amused disdain. Primitive creatures, she sneered. They breed aggressively, hoard emotions, and mistake honor for violence. Her advisor, a thin-skinned Zarnathi diplomat, nodded. Their women are genetically strong, adaptable. They will improve imperial stock. No retaliation is expected. She waved dismissively. If they send ships, we'll erase them. Their weapons are obsolete. Their tactics crude. But what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that humans didn't always fight with fleets. Sometimes, they fought with vengeance. 3 days later, the Empire's mining outpost on RX, Delta 5 went dark. An orbital relay captured the last transmission. Flashes of light. Screams in Galactic Basic. Explosions, then silence. When a scout ship arrived, they found the station in ruins. Empire soldiers, all dead. Every single one of them had been shot through the throat or burned alive in sealed rooms. On a scorched wall, smeared in ash, were 5 words. Give them back, or burn. The message reached the Empress. She laughed. An isolated act of terrorism. Let the worms flail. But deep down, a flicker of something else stirred. Not fear, not yet, but doubt. On Earth, Elias stood aboard the Vengeance-class destroyer Harrow's Edge, staring out into the black. The crew around him was silent, efficient, cold. He wore his sister's pendant around his neck. This isn't about politics, he said quietly, more to himself than anyone. This is personal. The AI voice chimed. Coordinates locked. First Imperial outpost within jump range. Elias nodded. Begin Operation Blood Debt. He turned to his crew. No survivors. The Reclaimers unleashed. The Harrow's edge emerged from slipspace like a black spear tearing through the fabric of reality. No warning, no declarations, no mercy. The first target, Elathon Station, an Imperial gene research facility orbiting the gas giant Lorcae 4, a lab specializing in selective enhancement of hybrid stock, what the Empire called their human breeding experiments. Elias Rain stood on the drop deck in full assault armor, helmet locked, pulse rifle charged. Around him, the reclaimers checked weapons, synced HUDs, and murmured oaths to the dead. A final countdown flashed red across the screen. 5 seconds. He spoke into the comm. Take them fast. Take them hard. Every second a woman screams down there is a second too long. The lights turned green. The reclaimers dropped like thunder. The station's guards barely had time to scream. Reclaimers moved like phantoms through the white, sterile halls. Pulse rifles fired in silence. Targets fell with surgical efficiency. A sentry turned to raise an alarm. A vibro knife pierced his throat. Another tried to flee down a side corridor. A rail round vaporized his skull. Elias led the charge into the central lab. Inside, rows of stasis pods glow blue. Inside each pod, women. Human. Unconscious. Some were scarred. Others bore strange implants. One stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. She whispered a single word through cracked lips. Help! Elias knelt, voice steady. We're here. You're safe now. Behind him, 2 reclaimers ripped open the control console. They initiated the stasis reversal. Pod by pod, women began waking. Some screamed. Some cried. Some just stared in blank silence. The doctors didn't get to explain. They died on the floor, throats cut or skulls crushed. Justice wasn't spoken today. It was enforced. After extraction, the Harrow's edge left no trace. The entire station was wired with microfusion cores. As the last escape pod launched, the facility erupted in white fire. The shockwave turned its orbit into a graveyard. The reclaimers left behind a single encoded message, bouncing on open Imperial frequencies. This was a warning shot. The next target won't be a lab. It'll be your throne. Panic rippled through the Galactic Empire. Imperial governors convened in emergency sessions. Broadcasts declared the attackers terrorists from a feral world. Rewards were offered for human heads. But the fear had already begun to rot their command structure. Reports flooded in. A mining station vaporized in the Antraxis belt. A breeding convoy ambushed mid-jump. Slave markets firebombed on Varnak Prime. Imperial warships disabled. Not destroyed, their crews left to spread the story. In each case, survivors repeated the same word. Reclaimers. The Empire's propaganda machine spun furiously. Hollow ads called humans barbaric, unworthy of galactic status, aggressors. But behind the bravado, cracks widened. Because the Empire had forgotten one thing. Humans didn't conquer for land. They didn't invade for riches. They avenged what was stolen. And when someone took their blood, humans didn't protest. They buried you. Back on Harrow's Edge, the medbay overflowed with rescued women. Some were sedated, others recovering. Many bore signs of invasive testing. Names were slowly gathered, identities confirmed. Elias stood beside one of the recovered, Lieutenant Hannah Delacruz, once reported MIA from the Titan Defense Fleet. Her voice was hoarse but full of fire. They thought we were breeding stock, she muttered. But we're soldiers, Commander. When I'm cleared, I want in. You'll have it, Elias promised. He left the medbay and entered the command deck. The crew stood at silent attention. In the middle of the war table was a glowing red marker, Imperial core space. A plan was forming, not for survival, not for defense, but for obliteration. Later that night, Elias recorded a message. It would be transmitted in every Imperial dialect, across every open channel, then rebroadcast again and again by rogue AI relays and pirate beacons. His voice was calm, cold. You captured our women. You defiled our kin. You thought we'd kneel. He leaned forward. You just signed your death sentence. The screen cut to black. The burning of stars. The world of Veltarn burned for 6 days. Once a jewel of the Empire, a core slave processing hub with towers of glass and cruelty, it now lay in ruins. Ash-black skies, screaming winds, corpses of slavers frozen mid-run, turned to statues by cryo-bombs. The Reclaimers didn't just destroy infrastructure, they destroyed fear itself. And in the center of the city's shattered courtyard, they planted a flag. Not of Earth, but of vengeance. Commander Elias Rain stood in the aftermath, dust coating his armor. The Reclaimers had liberated over 1,100 prisoners, humans and non-humans alike. Starved, tortured, experimented on. The Empire had enslaved them, erased their names. Now they had purpose. One of them, a Krell named Saverin, dropped to one knee before Elias, clawed fist clenched against his chest. "I owe you freedom," the alien rumbled, "and I give you my species." Elias didn't ask for loyalty, but he accepted it. The galaxy was changing, and humanity wasn't rising alone. Across Imperial space, rebellions ignited. The Reclaimers' path was clear. Not just military targets, but symbols of Imperial control. Temples, data, obelisks, palaces, breeding centers, all turned to dust. Their attacks were fast, coordinated, surgical. And in each city they freed, survivors painted the same words on the walls. "We are the fire." The Empire, in desperation, tightened its grip. Martial law was declared. Entire planets were blockaded. But the harder they clenched, the more systems slipped away. Because humans brought more than weapons. They brought hope. On board Harrow's Edge, the war map bled red with victories. 16 systems had fallen. Elias watched them light up like stars being reborn. Rain, Juno, the ship's AI, spoke through speakers, her voice crystalline. Encrypted packet intercepted from within the Imperial archive. Origin unknown. "Play it," Elias said. The message was audio only. A whisper. "Female. They're hiding them. Still alive. Deep core sector. Under the Empress's orders. I escaped. They don't know I sent this. Help them." Elias stiffened. "Run trace," he ordered. "Source confirmed." "It's her, Commander," Juno replied. "Your sister Naomi." The war room fell silent. Rain stared at the blinking dot. Naomi's transmission origin. Not just any world. Severdon, Imperial capital. No one had attacked Severdon in recorded history. To the galaxy, it was a monument of invincibility. 40 planetary defense satellites. 3 orbital rings. The Empress's seat of power. And now, the heart of the Reclaimers' next operation. Elias looked around the table. Veterans, ex-slaves, rebels, aliens. All bound by blood debts and shattered homes. He pointed to the glowing red core. "We're going in." The message went out. To every resistance cell. To every underground network. To every ship flying human colors. One word. Severdon. Back on the Imperial throne world, the Empress listened to frantic reports of insurgency, assassinations, warships blinking into core space and disappearing. Her advisors trembled. Governors begged for aid. She raised a hand for silence. "Let them come," she hissed. "Let these savages throw themselves into our teeth. We'll make examples of them." But her eyes betrayed a flicker of doubt. Her scientists had promised compliance. Her generals had sworn dominance. None had predicted the rage of a species that had been wounded. Hours later, in deep space, the Reclaimer fleet began assembling. 20 Earth warships, 30 Allied vessels, Krell war cruisers, salvaged Vernari hunters, liberated AI dreadnoughts. A fleet stitched together by pain, loyalty, and one shared promise. The Empire would fall. On the command deck, Rain stood in front of his gathered strike team. Hannah Delacruz, now fully recovered, stood beside him, eyes fierce. "You all know what's waiting for us," Elias said. "Fortress World. Thousands of enemy soldiers. Dozens of hostages, including my sister." He paused. "But this isn't about one woman. It's about every woman they took. Every child they tried to breed like livestock. Every scream that went unanswered." A slow, grim nod passed around the room. "We're not soldiers," Elias said. "We are consequences." As the Reclaimer Armada prepared to jump, Juno made a final announcement. Coordinates locked. Fleet synchronization complete. A silence fell across every bridge. And then Elias gave the final order. Burn them, the death sentence. Slip space cracked open above Severdon like a jagged wound in the stars. The Reclaimer Armada surged forth, black warships, repurposed alien cruisers, human AI dreadnoughts pulsing with red-lit rage. No warning, no formal declaration, just a silence so cold it made the void seem loud. The Imperial defense grid activated within seconds. 40 orbital cannons turned. Missile locks acquired. 1,000 enemy ships launched from the planetary rings. But by then, it was already too late. Juno split herself into 48 fragments across Imperial frequencies, disabling satellites faster than the Empire could react. The outer ring lit up with internal explosions, sabotage from within. Krell saboteurs planted there months prior emerged from shadow, tearing through control stations. The Reclaimers didn't want control. They wanted obliteration. Commander Elias Rain's boots hit the soil of Severdon with a crunch of ash and scorched metal. His strike team moved in tight formation. Hannah Delacruz flanked left, her railgun humming. Saverin, the Krell warrior, charged forward with a roar that echoed through the palace courtyards. Resistance was heavy. Imperial elites in gleaming gold armor fought desperately. But they were disciplined, not passionate. The Reclaimers were both. Every step forward was paid for in blood, and they had plenty to spend. Deep beneath the palace, in a hidden chamber lit by green stasis tubes, Naomi Rain opened her eyes. She'd heard the alarms, the explosions, the chaos. She smiled. They came. Above ground, Elias stormed the final gate. The Empress stood at the top of her marble stairs, draped in ceremonial crimson, flanked by guards already shaking. Her throne glowed behind her, symbols of absolute power etched in stone. You violate sacred space, she hissed. You bring war to peace. Elias stepped over the corpses of her elite. You took our women, he growled. This is what peace dies to. She raised her scepter, calling for the last of her honor guard. They didn't answer. They had already joined the dead. Face to face now, the Empress tried diplomacy. You don't have to do this. We can. A shot cracked. Elias lowered his smoking sidearm. The Empress collapsed, a hole between her eyes. Too late, he said. The liberation of the lower vaults took 15 minutes. Naomi stood barefoot, weak but unbroken, among hundreds of women in stasis. Elias approached her in silence. He pulled off his helmet. Hey, sis. Naomi's lip trembled. Then she punched his shoulder. Took you long enough. Elias laughed, the first real laugh in years. Across the capital, the Reclaimers broadcast a final signal. This is Commander Rain. Severdon has fallen. The Empire has been decapitated. All captives have been recovered. He looked into the camera, eyes like twin knives. Let this be understood across every star and system. We are not prey. We are not yours. You touch one of ours again, and we will erase your bloodline from history. This is your death sentence. In the days that followed, the Galactic Empire shattered. Vassal systems declared independence. Uprisings flared across dozens of worlds. Empire officials fled, went into hiding, or were hunted down by the very people they once ruled. The age of the slaver aristocracy ended not with a treaty, but with an execution. Humanity offered no apologies, only terms. Every enslaved species would receive autonomy. All genetic programs were to be dismantled, and Severdon would never again rise. Its ruins left as a monument to what happens when you take from Earth. Months later, a quiet ceremony was held on a neutral world. A simple plaque was unveiled in a garden where no weapons were allowed. It read, "They captured our women. They thought we'd break. Instead, we broke them, dedicated to those who burned for freedom." As the sun dipped beneath alien hills, Naomi Rain stood beside her brother. "Think it's over?" she asked. Elias looked at the stars. "No," he said, "but now they know. We're not just survivors. We're the fire they never saw coming." He turned, black armor catching the light. "And next time they try us, there won't be a warning.